Look, most losing trades, they don't actually start with a bad entry. In fact, they usually don't start on the charts at all. They start with this quiet, almost invisible emotional trigger way before you even place the trade. We're talking frustration, fear, greed, boredom, revenge, or impatience. These are the feelings that quietly push you into making bad decisions before your finger ever clicks buy. So I really want you to take a second and ask yourself, when does a losing trade actually start? Because most of us, we just assume it's the exact moment the market reverses, or the second some economic news drops, or maybe when our stop loss gets hit. We love to blame the setup, the broker, or just overall market volatility. But what if we're looking in the completely wrong place? The reality is that losing trade started way before the entry. Your hidden saboteur is actually the emotional condition you were in right before you executed. The huge problem here is that most traders only ever track the financial result of the trade, the dollar amount won or lost. They completely ignore the psychological moment that actually caused the mistake in the very first place. Okay, so let's dive into section 1, the hidden cause of losses. It all really comes down to knowing versus doing. Seriously, there is a massive gap between knowing what you're supposed to do and actually doing it. You could literally have the absolute perfect playbook, but if you're only tracking your basic profit and loss, you are never going to be able to separate a bad strategy from just bad discipline. Think about it. You might scrap a perfectly good trading system simply because you were trading it while you were angry. To actually get better, you absolutely must track your mindset and execution right alongside those financial results. Moving on to section 2. Let's talk about emotional triggers and what they actually look like in the real world. Now, we all know we're supposed to trade like robots, right? But let's be real, your intelligence and experience do not protect you from human cognitive biases. So let's define the real culprit here. Emotional triggers are the specific feelings or situations that lead you to break your trading rules. They are the exact catalyst that causes you to enter way too early, chase a runaway price, arbitrarily pump up your position size, or just completely abandon your playbook altogether. Just think about the most common culprits for a second. We're talking revenge trading right after a painful loss, or FOMO, the fear of missing out, when a stock suddenly spikes out of nowhere. How about boredom during those incredibly slow, choppy markets? Or that sheer panic when the price pulls back near your stop loss? I mean, we've all been there, right? Every single one of these triggers leads straight to poor execution. All right, section 3, the 5-step emotion tracker. This is all about building a structured routine. So how do we actually fix this? Well, we have to take all this intimidating abstract psychology and turn it into hard, trackable data. Here is your 5-step blueprint. We're going to assess your emotion before the entry, identify the exact trigger event, track any rule breaks, document your emotions during the trade, and finally log your mindset after the trade closes. Let's break these down one by one. Okay, step 1. Your emotion before the entry. Before you even think about clicking that mouse, you need to write down your emotional state. Are you calm? Are you feeling rushed? Are you maybe still fuming about that last trade you took? You need to identify exactly what caused that feeling. Are you entering this new trade simply because you're trying to make back the money you lost an hour ago? Because trust me, that condition really matters. Now for step 2, the trigger event. And listen, this isn't some vague feeling. It's a highly specific moment that physically pushes you into the market. It might be seeing a giant green candle spike, getting a random social media alert, or even just watching another trader post a massive win online. You've got to write this down specifically. For example, you might write, I entered because the price moved fast and I felt like I was missing out. See? Super specific. Which brings us right to step 3, tracking your rule breaks. Every single losing trade needs to be forensically reviewed. Did you jump in without waiting for confirmation? Did you widen your stop loss just because you couldn't stand the idea of being wrong? These rule breaks are basically a map, and they show you the exact coordinates of where your emotions hijacked your discipline. Next up is step 4, and this is tracking your emotion during the trade. You might actually enter the trade perfectly calm, but then the emotional trigger hits while the position is actually open. You might feel this intense panic during a totally healthy pullback, which causes you to cut a winning trade way too early. Or on the flip side, you might feel intense greed and refuse to take your gains until the market totally reverses on you. Finally, we arrive at step 5, emotion after the trade. After you close out a position, immediately write down how you feel. Are you relieved, regretful, maybe a bit embarrassed? Are you tempted to instantly jump right back in? This is absolutely critical because one trade always bleeds into the next. A losing trade can instantly trigger a revenge trade on your very next setup. Tracking this aftermath is how you protect your future capital. All right, let's jump to section 4, turning feelings into data. We're talking actionable analytics here. So, how in the world do we actually implement this framework efficiently? We need a system that directly links our psychological states to our financial performance. And guys, this is where a tool like TradeZella becomes an absolute game changer. It actually lets you use custom emotion tags like FOMO or overconfidence right in your journal. The platform's analytics then take those tags and cross-reference them with your P&L. So it literally shows you exactly which emotional triggers are costing you the most money. How cool is that? And honestly, this next part is perhaps the most powerful feature on there, trade replay. Looking back at a static chart makes every exit look super obvious in hindsight, right? But trade replay lets you go back and review the exact tick-by-tick moment where you were in the trade. It completely restores that real-time uncertainty, which lets you see the precise second that fear or greed hijacked your execution and forced you into a panic exit. It's wild to watch back. Moving to our final section, section 5, your new journaling routine. It's time to finally stop emotional trading. If you actually want to break the cycle of emotional trading, you have to build a powerful, data-driven journaling habit, and you need to start today. Manual journaling usually fails because, let's face it, it's tedious. But having a structured checklist, that changes everything. You want to record the emotion before entry, the trigger event, the setup name, rule breaks, stop-loss behavior, mistake tags, and your lessons learned. When you input all of this into a proper system, those massive blind spots you've had for years are going to become crystal clear. So, the final verdict is this. If you want to truly improve your discipline, your edge, and your overall strategy, you have got to go deeper than just profit and loss. You absolutely must document what you felt, what caused that feeling, and precisely how it altered your decision-making in the heat of the moment. Honestly, that is the only way you're ever going to master your psychology. Now, if you are serious about finally tracking your psychology, plugging these leaks, and using that incredible trade replay and emotion analytics we just talked about, you've got to start using TradeZella today. You can actually grab 20% off your subscription right now by clicking my exclusive link down in the description. Seriously, stop guessing and start tracking. I'm going to leave you with this one question to think about today. Which emotional trigger is quietly sabotaging your biggest trades right now? Is it FOMO, revenge, just plain boredom? Let me know down in the comments below. Take control of your mindset, build that journaling habit, and I will see you guys in the next video.